Hi, I'm Kris Oldland, Editor-in-Chief of Field Service News, and welcome to the first of 4 excerpts from a recent video presentation I did with John Hunt, Managing Director of EMEA for Astea. The full conversation, which is a 45-minute discussion, focuses on how service leaders are adapting to the changing world of field service. And that full presentation is available to fieldservicenews.com subscribers within our premium content library. And also, if you're not a fieldservicenews.com subscriber yet, you can access the full presentation on the link below. You just need to complete a form and that'll get sent across to you. In this first excerpt, John and I are discussing about exactly how much our world is changing. We've seen technologies like the Internet of Things, augmented reality and machine learning really revolutionize the way we approach service. But it's not just the technology, it's also the fact that shifts in thinking about the way we approach service are really becoming far more prevalent. We're seeing a move towards servitization, we're seeing a move and an embracement of advanced services. So John and I took the time to have a little look about just how much the world of field service is changing.
Last time we sat here and had a conversation, we discussed just how there is a significant shift in the way manufacturers, particularly forward-looking manufacturers, are viewing service, and it's quite seismic, some of these changes to the approach to service delivery. I want to just recap on that briefly, if I may. Just how significant is the change that we're facing in terms of the changing is, I mean, we hear talks about the fourth paradigm, you know. How important is it that companies understand the size and magnitude of these changes that we're currently seeing in terms of service delivery?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for coming today. Great to see you as always,
pleasure.
Kris. Yeah, so I mean, the changes that we're seeing, they're substantive and palpable. We're seeing it in our new business pipeline and hearing it firsthand from some of the world's leading manufacturers, to name one sector, about how their revenue model is flipped on its head from where it was as little as a few years ago. What we're, again, to use that manufacturing example, what we're industrial equipment manufacturers driving most of their top and bottom line revenue from capital investments from their customers. Yeah. They're transforming that increasingly into an OpEx driven business. So in that example, they're enabling their customers to essentially subscribe to their equipment, predicated on drivers such as units yielded from the equipment itself and uptime. And along with that, what was previously a services organization cost center, run with a deeply entrenched, homegrown systems in a lot of cases, with custom, complex integrations, that's given away to what's now the profit enablement center, as I like to call it. Their vision is showing them the way that they must have a best-of-breed total service lifecycle solution covering people and parts. And those integrations, their entire IT ecosystem, inclusive of field service, of course, are increasingly completed using standards and common middleware and even integration as a service in some cases. We're seeing our customers outsource that to people that specialize in that. In short, it gives them that speed to market with the changes that might occur or innovations that need to be introduced rapidly into their service lifecycle ecosphere. Yeah.
And it's interesting, you mentioned manufacturing is perhaps the industry takes the lens there, but this isn't just a manufacturing focused area. I think when you mentioned that infrastructure and implementation, everything is as a service, and it's hitting every industry, isn't it? We're seeing it across. I often think perhaps I recall we touched on this, some of the leading learnings around this concept of as a service came from the software world, where there were some painful mistakes made and some quite big evolutions made. I think manufacturing, especially with the servitization movement and the trend towards servitization, is there, but we're also seeing it in utilities, telcos, fast-moving retail. You know, we're seeing it everywhere, aren't we? Yeah, it's something that's really kind of driving forward. I mean, something that I've talked about at Field Service News and many of our regular columnists that kind of touch on as well is how technology, processes, these two are becoming increasingly entwined. You know, the processes are led by the technology is driving the processes. It's very much a kind of a cohesive unit there. But is the technology driving these changes that we're talking about, these shifts, the approaches that are differing, Or is it the other way around in terms that the shift in thinking is driving a need for innovation? It's something that I kind of never quite get my head around. Oh, is IoT, for example, crucial and that's driving our move to servitization? Or has servitization created a need for us to embrace IoT? Which way round is that? Or is it horses for courses sometimes?
Yeah, it's the classic chicken or the egg.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess I'll stay on the fence. I think it's the intersection of the tech and the thinking. With tech, I think it's a slightly bigger driver, in my opinion. I'll go back to making a historical example. Just as the invention of the printing press in the 15th century by Gutenberg enabled the masses to read and learn, it resulted in an unprecedented evolution in thinking, or a revolution in thinking. And that led directly to such pivotal periods in human history. The Renaissance, the manufacturing revolution. Again, I'm sort of fixated on manufacturing today for some reason. But so has the current pace of technology innovation spawned this next Gutenberg moment. And we remain in the midst of it. And it's really opened up enlightened thinking by field service providers to innovate in order to differentiate. So innovate to differentiate. And that aggressive push to innovate in field service drives even more demand for fit-for-purpose innovations to be brought rapidly to market by solution providers like Astea and so on. And that intersection of tech supply and thinking demand, it just becomes more and more tightly entwined. It's almost like, imagine you've got a cylinder hanging at the bottom of a rope and you just twist and twist and twist and twist and let it unwind. It spins really quickly. So I don't think you can avoid that intersection.
I think it's almost, to continue your metaphor as well, it's almost that these push and pull forces are working in tandem. You know, the innovation, the differentiation, the technology. It's like we'll have one push, and of course the yin and yang effect. If you push on one side, you're pulling on the other, and then as they come full circle, you know, there's that constant drive, and that's what's building the momentum, I guess.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess it's in a lot of ways it's simple supply and demand, right? Yeah. Nothing revolutionary we're talking about, but I think it's a really interesting thing to think about, right? Which came first.
Okay, so this brings us to the end of this particular excerpt from the series. And now remember, if you've enjoyed this conversation, if this is a conversation and these are topics that are important to you in your role as a field service professional, there is a full 45-minute discussion where John and I went deeper into some of these topics. And that is available for you if you're a fieldservicenews.com subscriber. It's already there in our premium content library waiting for you. Now, if you're not a fieldservicenews.com subscriber yet, good news is you can still access the full presentation. There will be a link below. You need to click that link and complete the brief form that's there. Please do, of course, read the terms and conditions. And having completed that, you will gain access to the full presentation. But for now, thanks ever so much to John for joining me on this excellent discussion, and thank you all for taking the time to listen. We'll see you again soon. Take care.